So first, welcome to join our RCNA course. Okay, and before we have the training, let's have a brief introduction about myself. I am Emily from Regia Global Training Center. In the last year, I also do several times of the public training. So maybe someone already joined the public training from my part before. And I have to do the training over 6 years, focus on the security, routing and switch, wireless, and exactly. And then let's say why we have this public training. Okay. Because we already updated the RCNA routing and switch course nearly 2 months, and this is a new version. I guess maybe already someone knows this news and to watch some video on our e-learning website. And actually about this course, we have lots of steps. The first step is here, self-learning part. Self-learning part. And here you can learn lots of videos, nearly 16 hours, 50 videos on our e-learning website. And you can see lots of topic about the network, like what is network, why we need a network, and what's a key technology if you want to deploy the network in maybe in your city or in your company, something like this. And the second step, we also provide the exam. If you watch all video, includes the principle and also the lab, and you master everything, you can join the exam. And this exam also is provided to you, test that maybe you already understand the principle or not, something like this. Okay, later I will explain one by one about this question from your side, okay? And the second step, maybe someone say, I already see the video. I already passed the exam. It's not so difficult for me. Yes, you are very great. And the second step is, if I provide one topology, one summary topology to you, can you do the practice according to the service requirement or not? If yes, I think you already mastered the principle. You already know everything about this technology. And what's the topology? Before we have the public training, we already send you about the invitation letter and also provide us the integrated lab. What's the topology? What's the maybe key point you want to do the configuration and something like this. I give you all the configuration. I give you the video, how to meet the requirement step by step, something like this. So if you already see this information before joining this training, I think in this training, you can understand, you can learn lots of information. So this is a whole step. So before we talk about the detail of the integrated lab, this is the main part of this public training. I want to get one learning survey. So I want to know how many people already see the video on e-learning, how many people already passed the exam, and how many people maybe already see the training information about this public training, about the training material you already say before. Then it will depend on how to explain later. Maybe if everyone already knows the video, already passed the exam, I can set maybe a little complex. Otherwise, maybe I can speak simple. Maybe some key point when you do the practice, I will explain for you detail, something like this. So please 1 minute to let me know how many people already see the video on e-learning, how many people already passed the exam, how many people already see the integrated lab before this training, something like this. So only 1 minute, please let me know it. If you fill in everything you can direct it to submit. I will know the result. Let me say it. Whoa, already 12 people finished this survey. Only 3 people watch all the video. Yes, yes, but several people already get the exam certification because we set the rule. If you think you master the video, you can skip and direct it to join the exam. Okay. It doesn't matter if you don't see the video and if you don't use the command before, please also let me know it, because later we will talk about the principle, the integrated lab. We will use a command. If you don't use the command to do the configuration before, please also let me know it. Half. Already 27 people finish the survey. Okay, 32. We still have 30 seconds. If 30 seconds later, nobody filling the survey, we will skip this one. Over 70% of people already do the survey. And I found a very sad news, because half of people never see the video on our e-learning before. So later, if I maybe talk about a little complex, you can write down some question on the chat window and I will explain for you.
稍后，如果我可能会讨论一些复杂的问题，您可以讨论聊。
Let me say some question. It's so sad. Never. Okay, it doesn't matter, because after you finish this training, I think you will know everything about our RCNA course, a full step. Maybe in the future, when you see the first step, when you finish the first step to see all the video and finish the exam, and later you can come back to see our today training video. It also can improve you to understand the principle. Okay. So now I will stop. Already 36 people fill in the survey. I thank you so much to let me know the basic information about this course. Okay, now let me start today's training. Because what is RCNA and about the RS? The full name is Radio Certification Network Assistant Routing and Switch. Because if you are engineer or maybe you are a customer to use our radio products, maybe someone will have some confused. Why I need to configure IP address? What's the function? Why I need to add the VLAN? What's the difference between this number? Why some scenario I have to enable some special configuration like the STP or maybe the NAT, something like this. So in this course, we will show you how to use the routing and the switch products to build a small or maybe mid-tier network. Someone maybe say in our network, we also have wireless device. It doesn't matter. In the future, we also will have the course we call it RCNA WLAN. So this course is basic course to let you know what is a basic concept of the network. What's the technology like the VLAN, STP, routing protocol, NET, and other technologies. So this is the function of the course. And then this is the topology. And of course, about this topology, I use the simulator to deploy the topology, and we will have some router, have some switch, and also have some PC to simulate different departments. And we will use two routers and one PC to simulate our internet. So this is a basic topology. Of course, maybe in your network, your topology will be simple. Or maybe your topology is very complex and maybe more complex than this one. It doesn't matter. But based on this topology, we will have some service requirement from customer. And how to meet the requirement from customer. This is a key point we have to talk on this training. So this is a basic one. Yes. And then let's see the basic requirement. The first one is if our end user in the same department belong to the same network segment, we hope to minimize the impact of broadcast storm. For example, in our company, I have the IT department, I have finance department, something like this. In the same department, they maybe have the same IP address. Maybe some attacker will attack our network, send us some maybe value date, something like this. We hope if we get this attack voice, then the impact can be minimized as much as possible. So this is the first one. And the second one, we hope that the communication between different departments also can be finished. For example, now I am in the IT department and one of my colleagues in the finance department. If I send a file to my colleagues, he also can receive it. So this is the second one. The third one, we hope we can avoid the single point of the failure in the network as much as possible. Because what means the single point failure? If one link is broken, or maybe one device is broken, then the network cannot be forwarded out successfully. So this one we call is a single point of failure. And the fourth one is when there is a problem with the link, the service can be restored as soon as possible. If one link is broken, can we have the backup link, or maybe backup device, something like this. And the fifth requirement, if we have several departments, we hope only IT department and the sales department can visit our internet. This is a basic one, right? Someone say especially in region, the special department we call it resources and the RD department, because they have lots of security data. So we hope they only maybe in the working time, they only can visit the internal resources, but they cannot visit outside. So this is the basic requirement. The last one, the ISP2 can telnet to the CSW1 to do some configuration. This scenario is, for example, now I have a seat on my family or on my home, but I have to do some configuration to remote to the network device. So how to let the public client visit the internal device. So they are basic service requirement of our network. So if we already have the topology, we have the device, we have the link to connect with each other, how to meet the requirement? We have to use a cable to connect with the device, right? And then we have to use the technology. And I have one question is, if you want to meet the service requirement of these 6, what's the technology we have to use? If you have some guess, you can write down to let me know it. any okay, so if you want to meet this service requirement, what technology you have to use? If you have any guess, you can write down to let me know it. VLAN, yes. This is a good technology. Anything else? Or VLAN? VLAN is enough? No more technology here? Telnet, ACL, yeah. VPN tunnel. So good. Anything else? No more technology? DHCP snowping? RSTP, yes. I think you know so much technology over the RCNA. Trunking, VPN tunnel, yes. No more question? VRRP, wow. I think you already see the video of on the e-learning. Load balance and fill over. Oh, good. Haven't? Oh. Okay, I get lots of idea how to use the tech. Oh, link aggregation. It's also a very good technology. And very big use in our network, I think. Okay, then let's see. LACP and PAGP, yeah. This is a dynamic link aggregation, right? And then let's say come back. For example, now this is a topology. On the simulator, I to make all the interface connect with each other because later we will do lots of command on the topology. And I also add this service requirement on the topology. So we have to use the technology now to meet the requirement one by one, right? And which technology we want to use if you want to meet the service requirement. The first one is basic. You have to know what is OSI reference mode, what is TCP/IP reference mode, and what's the IP address and planning, something like this. Because this is a basic information you must know in our network. Although maybe when you do the configuration, know any command with the OSI, know any command with the TCP/IP, but all the devices how to work, how to forward the message successfully based on these two reference models. The second one about the layer 2 network technology, we will use a switch. How to work to forward the message successfully, how to use a VLAN, how to use the STP. You have to know what's the different function of the VLAN and STP, and which scenario you have to use VLAN, which scenario you have to use STP. And the layer 3 network technology, you have to use the IP routing principle, right? Because if you want to forward a message in the same segment, it's very easy. Maybe VLAN and STP is enough. But if you want to forward a message between different segments, you have to use some routing information like direct routing, static routing, and OSPF. OSPF is a dynamic routing, helps the router get the routing information. And the last one, we also will use the ACL, the net, to help us forward the message between private network and the public network. And another one, you will use a DHCP in your network to assign IP address dynamically. And also, some scenario, we will provide multiple gateway to avoid the single failure. So this technology we call is VRRP. So this is the basic technology we use in our RCNA course. And then let's say how to use this technology to meet the requirement one by one. Okay, and step by step, right? Because you have to know what is the function of the network, why we use the network. And the basic definition is a computer network is an interconnected collection of autonomous computer. For example, you have PC. If I want, now I use the Zoom on my PC and have a training for you. So why you can receive this training information, right? Because in my PC and your PC, we already established our network. So this is the basic function. About the training video, we will cut and then send to personal email. So it's no need to record the video, okay? And the function, basically the function is help the terminals send the message from source to destination. So in this process, we have three questions to have to know. First is about the sender, how to encapsulate the message. And about the intermediate, we have lots of devices, how to choose the best path from source to destination. And about the receiver, also have to know when I receive this packet, I have to de-encapsulate and then to get the key information here, right? And the other one is how can special requirements be met in our network? For example, I want the network can forward the message from source and the destination. And another one is we also can have some backup paths, can avoid the single failure. So this is a basic function of our network. And in this process, we have to know about the receiver and the sender, how to do the encapsulation, how to do the de-encapsulation. What means the encapsulation? What means de-encapsulation? Because maybe now I only sent the sentence on the window. We will start the RCNA course now, right? I send one word is now. I will direct it to click the send, then you will see the message. But about the receiver, I don't care about what's IP address, what means the MAC address, something like this. I only want to see the word is now, right? So about the sender, we have to do the encapsulation. We will add lots of information of the application layer, presentation layer, session layer, something like this, until the last to become the bit, and then the message can be forwarded out through the cable. Like the network layer, we will add the network layer header. Then the name will become packets. On the header, we will add the IP address, source IP address, and also destination IP address. So what's the function of this IP address? Because all the network have to forward this message out according to this information. And about the receiver, when I receive this message maybe from your PC, I have to delete this information. I have to delete the IP header because I only want to know the word is now. I don't care about what is IP address. So this is the key point of the encapsulation and de-encapsulation. And then after we know the basic part of the network, of course, about the TCP/IP OSI reference model, on the e-learning, we have several hours to explain the key points. Now I only show you the summary information of this basic network. Now let's see the detailed service requirement one by one. The first is, now we want to do the simplest scenario. We hope that the terminal in the same department, they can communicate with each other. Like this topology, we have IT department, have the sales department, finance department, administration department, and also maybe we have some server department, something like this. So we hope like the IT department, now they were connected with different switch, right? For example, maybe I have a seat on the third row third floor, but maybe my colleague is also the same department, but he has the seat on the 5th floor. We will connect with different switch. So in this scenario, if you want to let the IT1, IT2, and IT3 to do the communication with each other, what's the key parameters we have to add on the network devices and the PCs? Can you give me some answer? What's the technology you can use? You have to use in this scenario. If IT1 and IT2 and IT3, they want to communicate with each other, what's the key technology we have to add? We must add trunk. They should be in the same VLAN, correct? Same VLAN, yes. It's enough, right? Trunk is in different VLAN. Now they were in the same VLAN because they in the same department. Should we use the IP address for the terminal? Should we use? I think the IP address, of course, because I think maybe everyone say IP address is must one, so we don't need to consider this one, right? Yes, IP address need to be used everywhere. So the basic information on our network is you have to know what is IP address, right? And of course, after we give the IP address of the terminal, we have to give the special IP address and to give the subnet mask. And maybe in the simple network, everyone will directly to use the mask is 24. But for example, here, if now our company only have one IP segment, the address is 192.168.1.0/24. But we have several departments, and different departments must use different IP segments. So in this scenario, we have to use to make the IP segment have different submask. For example, here, if the IT department, we need 50 IP address. What's the IP address range of the IP department must have? And here I already show you the answer. The mask should be 26, right? And here is a gateway. So if in your network, the IP address is enough, maybe someone say, all the different segments, I will direct to use a mask to become 24. And in this special scenario, if you only have one segment, you must to use different submask to divide the whole IP segment to become several segments, right? So this is a basic one and a little complex when you divide the IP address, because the mask to become 26, you have to know which IP address will be in the same segment, which IP address cannot, something like this. For example, this topology, I will give the IP department 3 terminals, IT1, IT2, and IT3. And what's the IP address? What's the gateway? So you have to give the correct IP address, correct gateway. Of course, in your network, if you use a DHCP, it's very easy. You direct it to set the DHCP parameter is enough. If you use a static way to let the terminal get an IP address, you must to give the correct gateway mask and also the IP address. So this is a basic one. And the second one is, I guess I'm voiced to use the technology of the trunk and the VLAN, right? And here, if the IT department connect with the switch, by default, we use the switch to do the communication with each other. It's enough because about the switch, we will use one VLAN. This VLAN we call it is VLAN 1. By default, everyone will have the VLAN 1. So someone will already in the same VLAN. In this scenario, if the switch receives this message, and I will use when the switch receives a message from terminal, I will check with our MAC address table, right? And then according to the destination MAC address, I will decide to forward the message or not. If this message is the non-unicast message, that means the destination MAC address already in the MAC address table, or maybe flood the information. If we receive some unknown unicast message, or maybe broadcast message, or maybe multicast message, I will flood it, or maybe directly discard. If I receive this message according to the destination, it then matches the MAC address table. I found the receiving interface and the sending interface are same. In this scenario, I will directly discard. So this is a basic principle of the switch. So in this process, the key point is how to get the MAC address table. But don't worry, we don't need to add any configuration of the switch. They will learn the MAC address table automatically. So this is a basic one. And if we use the correct IP address of the terminal and also use the switch and the switch gets the power successfully, then we can use the tool ping to test the network connection, right? And if we use this tool ping, the protocol we use is ICMP. So what means network connection is ready? If I send a packet to you and you can give me a reply, that means the network is ready. It's done. It's okay. We can use the network. And this packet we call is ICMP. And another protocol we use is ARP. ARP is used to, I already know the IP address, but I don't know what's the MAC address. So in this scenario, I will send out the ARP to get the MAC address information because we have to encapsulate the message successfully. So these are the key points in the first scenario. Then I will let you see how to do the configuration on this topology to meet the first requirement. Can you see my screen? The left is my is the video I already to record how to do the configuration step by step. And about the right is the topology. If you already download the topology, you also can open on your computer. If not, you only know what the device name is enough and what's the interface type, because according to the video, I will explain for you one by one. You have to know now I added the configuration on which device, okay? And about the video, I already gave you some initial configuration because we have lots of devices and lots of interface. And I already added the IP address on the terminals and the IP address of the network interface, because if you don't finish this configuration before, we will have long time to do this basic one. And another one is on the IT department, IT1, we don't give the IP address, but the rest of terminals, I already added the IP address before. So this is the initial configuration. Now, if we want to let the IT1, for example, here, we want IT1, IT2, and IT3. They can communicate with each other. With this, basic technology is we have to add the correct IP address. The second one is if we directly to connect with the switch is power off, then they can directly to each other successfully. So now let's see the process, how to do the configuration. Here, right? This is the topology. And I already added the basic IP address of all the devices except IT1. Then you can open the IT1 to give the IP address. Okay. So this is a basic configuration. We add the IP address on IT1, right? Because we use a simulator to do the practice. On the simulator, the PC give IP address is IP, gives a correct IP address, and gives a mask, and gives a gateway. If you use the real device, maybe you have to open the Windows network card and then to directly set the IP address and the mask is enough. And then to save the configuration here. So this is a basic configuration on IT1. So in this step, you will find here, we already do the test to ping, right? And about the ping, the IP address of 1.2, this is the IP address of the IT2. And another one, 1.3, this is the IP address of IT3, okay? So we can find the result, the ping successfully. Of course, the IT2 and IT3, I already gave the correct IP address. And about the switch, we don't add any configuration, right? And they can ping successfully. And what is the 1.65? This is the IP address of the finance. In this topology, the 1.65, this is the IP address of finance one. You will find because of the mask 26 and 27, they in different IP segments. So they cannot ping successfully because in different segments, we need to ask our gateway to help us to forward the message. But now we don't have gateway, or maybe the gateway not working, right? Okay, so in this process, we will find if you directed to connect the terminal with the switch and to give the correct IP address, then in the same segment, they can communicate with each other successfully. No need to do any configuration on the switch, right? Okay, so this is a basic one. Yes. Because about our RCNA course, we will use a command to do every configuration here. So about the first scenario, do you have any question? The same if about the CL1 and the CL2, if you already have the correct IP address, they also can communicate with each other. The AD1 and AD2 is same. They can communicate with each other. Only give the IP address is enough. Someone maybe say why we don't need the VLAN, because about ASW1, ASW2, 3, and 4, all of them have the default VLAN. We call it VLAN 1. So about the VLAN, they already located into the same VLAN. So this is the first scenario. Do you have any question here? Do you have any question? Yes, because they are in the different subnet mask. Why? That's why IT want to ping the finance one. They cannot ping successfully. Yes, we need the gateway to help us if they want to communicate with each other in the different department. So I think in the first scenario, you already mastered everything, right? About the IP address. I will have one question to ask you if you already know the basic one. I will have two questions. Can you see the question here? If you know the answer, please write down to let me know it. IP address 192.168.1.1, the mask is 26, and another IP address is 1.55. Are they in the same segment or not? Oh, I get some different voice. If you know the answer, please write down to let me know it. Oh, so cool. Oh, maybe you click so fast. It's so easy for you, right? Okay. Only 10 seconds now. If you don't write down the answer, please write down as soon as possible. I will end the question in 5 seconds later. Yes, I think I think everyone already masters the IP address. Because why I set this IP address? Oh yeah. It's so easy for you, right? It's enough. I will stop here and share the results to you. We nearly 50 people to join the question. I think someone maybe click wrong, not means choose the wrong answer. Why I ask this question? Because when you do the IP address planning in your network, you have to make sure if in the same department, they must have same IP segment. You have to know what's the IP address in the same one. Otherwise, they cannot communicate with each other. And the mask is 26. That means in the segment, we nearly have 64 IP addresses. And the first IP address, 1.0, is the network address, cannot be used. The last address is 63, also is a broadcast IP address, cannot be used. The rest of the address we call is a host address. And this IP address we can assign for terminal or maybe for network device, it doesn't matter. They were in the same department. They were in the same segment. So this one is very important. Okay, I think it's very easy for you, right? And another one is also for the IP address. Can you see the question now? This IP address can be used as the host IP address or not. As we said before, the broadcast IP address and the network IP address cannot be used, right? One for the segment and another one for the broadcast. Then the rest of them can be used as a host address. And about this one, a little difficult is the mask is 27. So you have to do the calculation. Which one can be used or which one cannot be used? Oh, half and half. I found the result. Oh, someone choose false? No. False will be more than the true. Also, still 40 seconds. If someone don't join the question, you can choose as you know. No, because it is broadcast IP address. Wow, I think you already know my answer. You get everything. Yeah, mask 27 only has 32 IP address. Yes. So about the 32 IP address, also have 2 IP address cannot be used, right? One for the broadcast and another one for the network address. These 2 address cannot be used. Okay, now I think everyone gets the answer. Lots of people choose true and lots of people choose false. The mask 27, that means one segment is 30, we will have 32 IP address. So the first segment is from 0 to 70 to 31. The second one is 32 to 63. The third one is 64 to 65. So 65/27, this IP address is a broadcast IP address, cannot be used. So about this question, the correct answer should be false. It's very easy for you, right? Okay, so now we will finish the first scenario and we know everything. If in the same segment, maybe you have to give the correct IP address and also to give the power to the switch. About the switch, don't need to do any configuration. And the next scenario is now, for example, about the switch 1, switch 2, connect with 3 IT department. If we only have this topology here, 1, 2, and 3 to connect with 2 switch, if the link between ASW1 and ASW2 is broken, that means IT1 cannot do the communication with IT3. So we hope we can provide the higher reliability, like this topology. If the link between ASW1 and ASW2 is broken, we still can use the CSW to communicate with each other. And this A means access switch. C is a core switch. So this also is a high reliability we use in our network. But we will find there is a problem. Maybe there is a loop. Loop means IT1 send a message out. And this message will send to CSW1 to ASW2, come back to ASW1, and then there is a loop. Finally, the bandwidth will not enough. So what technology can help us? Oh, why I don't ask you the question? You already showed me the answer. Yes, someone say we have to use the STP. RSTP also is good. Yes, you already know the answer. PVST. Yes. So we hope first about the physical topology, you have to provide the backup link and backup switch. And then we need the technology to avoid the loop, but also can detect if one link is broken, we can help to use the backup link, right? So this is a basic requirement of the high reliability. And in the RCNA course, we will use the technology we call is STP. Because about the STP, basic function is first to avoid the loop. Second, we can detect if the physical link, if the active link is broken, we can use a backup link. And how to calculate why this interface cannot be used? We will use the CBPDO, configuration BPDO. This is a packet sent out to compare with each other. My priority is better than you, so you need to disable your interface to avoid the loop, something like this. So this is a basic function of the configuration BPDO. And the second one is if the active path is broken, we still have to use a backup one, right? So we will use the special BPDO, we call it TCN BPDO, to tell everyone, now this link is broken, please to enable the backup one, something like this. So in the STP, we will have the basic BPDO, C BPDO and the TCN BPDO. And in the STP, about the switch, we also have two rules, root bridge and non-root bridge, to select the highest priority to become the root bridge, and the rest of the switch will become non-root bridge. And about the port interface type, we will have the root port, designed port, and the alternate port. Finally, if the data is alternate port, this interface cannot forward the message. This is a function to avoid the loop. If the active link is broken, maybe this AP will become DP or maybe become API to forward the message again. And another feature of the STP, we also can provide the port faster and the TC protection. Of course, how to work of the BPDO, how to select the rule of the interface and the switch, what's the function of the advanced feature. On the e-learning STP video, we talk a lot of information. STP is a very big topic on the RCNA course. Someone maybe say we also can use ISTP, PVST. There also is another technology, maybe faster than the STP, but the basic function is same. So if you want to meet this requirement, how to do the configuration? Let's see the video. And about the STP, first you have to know where we need to use STP, right? The first is here, we have a loop. Here, we have a loop, right? Someone say, maybe here we also need to use STP, but no, because about these three devices, we use the layer 3 interface. So in the layer 3 interface, we will don't have the loop. So it's enough in these two places to enable the STP. Okay. So let's see the detail how to enable the process and what's the key configuration here. First, we can enter the ASW1. This is the troubleshooting to show us. For example, now on the ASW1, the physical interface of this one. If we shut down this interface, we will find IT1 and IT3. They cannot ping each other successfully, right? Because the only physical link is broken, so we don't have any path. The result will become timeout. But you ping the IT2, they still can communicate with each other because they connect with the same switch. So in this scenario, we need the technology of STP. Now you can now shut down the interface. The configuration is very easy. First here, maybe after all the configuration, I will show you. About the STP configuration on the AS1. AS1 is the access switch interface. You have to enable the Spanish tree first. Depends on your real switch, because some switch, the default mode is enabled. Some switch, the default mode is disabled. First is enable the Spanish tree. Second one is you have to choose the mode to become STP. By default, the mode is MSTP, multiple STP. So you can choose the mode to become STP. Then you will see lots of warning because they are now to begin stand out the BPDO to calculate the result. This is a command to check the status. Maybe when you do the configuration of STP, you will find lots of scenario. Show Spanish tree summary. You can find the basic Spanish tree information, what's the priority, what's the MAC address, and what's some information of the type. And here is all the interface status. We have three rules, right? Design, RP, AP, something like this, and what's the status. So you can use this command to check the result. Why we still the status is blocking? Because we need time to do the calculation. This also is the disadvantage of STP. Now the status become learning, and then to become forwarding. So ASW1 is ready. And the same configuration on the ASW2. The configuration is same on the ASW2. First, you have to enable. The second one, you have to choose the mode to become STP. And pay attention here. By default, I stop the device of CSW1 because if we already enable everything, there is a loop. So we cannot test the IT1 and IT3 connection ready or not. So by default, I stop the CSW1 and the CSW2. Otherwise, there is a loop. So if you add the configuration of the STP, you have to start the device at first. In the real network is you have to provide the power. Because about the simulator, we also use the real image. So we also need the time to wait the device to start and then to add the configuration. We also need the process to let the device start, right? And then you have to give the password to enable the Spanish tree and choose the mode to become STP. You will get lots of warning, but the warning will have no influence of your network. You also can stop the warning. And now if you want to ping 1.3 IT3, this is IT3, right? We can find the result, we can ping successfully. And if the same scenario, you shut down the interface of ASW1, what's the wording of this part? Because we now shut down the interface of ASW1, right? We shut down this interface. So the switch will send out some TC BPDO and someone will receive this BPDO. We will get the information now on our network, some interface is broken. So we have to calculate again and also to select the path and also to refresh our MAC address table because previous the MAC address table is wrong. And here you will find we don't add any configuration on these 3 devices, right? We only check. But you will find the first time after we shut down the interface, IT1 ping unsuccessful. But now we can ping successful. That's because we need time to wait to let all the devices to calculate the interface type and to make the interface data to become forwarding. Then we can forward the message out. That's why first time ping not successful, but the second time is successful. This also is a disadvantage of STP. That's why someone maybe say we can use RSTP, we can use MSTP. We can shorten the time to calculate the backup path. Okay, so now we can enable the interface again. We will find they still to do the configuration here, to do the calculation. So this is a full configuration of ASW1, ASW2, and the CSW1. Same of the ASW3 and 4 and CSW2, there is a loop. So we have to add the same configuration of 3, 4, and 2. Enable the STP first. Second, you have to choose the mode to become STP. Someone said, of course, we also can use RSTP or MSTP, but on the RCNA course, I only explain the STP for you. So in this practice, we will use the STP to do the high reliability. And the 3, 4, 5, the configuration are same. So we will skip this one. The test also is same. Okay, so this is a basic of the STP. Do you have any question here about the STP? I have say one. Can I know the benefit of using layer 3 link between 2 distribute switch instead of the trunk link? Actually, layer 2 or layer 3, the main difference is about the layer 3 interface, we can limit the broadcast domain by default. I will let you see the topology here. For example, if they use the layer 2 interface, some layer 2 broadcast message will broadcast the packets. For example, IT1 send out the broadcast. If there is a layer 2, the broadcast message will send out here, here, and here, and also here. If there is a layer 3 interface, we will not send to CW2 again. But if there is a layer 2, I also will send out, out. So if we only use one VLAN, they in the same VLAN, the broadcast domain will be very big. But finally, you will find all the broadcast message will be discarded because like the ARP broadcast message, I want to know the MAC address of IT3. So all the terminal will find I am not IT3. So finally, I will discard. This is the bandwidth waste, right? Because I use a lot of bandwidth to forward the message, but finally the message will be discarded. But if you use a layer 3, we will stop now, stop here, okay? So this is different. And about the STP, do you have any question here? If no more, we will see the next scenario. This scenario is if the host communicates with the same network segment, we want to isolate the broadcast domain, right? For example, this is a scenario. If we send out from IT1 broadcast message, finally everyone will receive this one. So we want to limit the broadcast domain. For example, if I send out the broadcast message, only the same department can receive this. Only IT2 and IT3 can receive, the other one cannot. So in this scenario, we will use a new technology, we call it VLAN. And about the VLAN, the function is, first you can use limit the broadcast domain. Someone maybe say, we also can use a layer 3 interface. But if you use a layer 3 interface, like the access switch, you have to support layer 3 feature first. So VLAN is cheap and very useful technology to avoid the broadcast domain. The second one, you can enhance the security of the LAN. Maybe some attack date sent out also will be limited in the same VLAN. Not everyone will receive this message. And also the third one is flexible of the virtual groups. For example, about the switch, maybe they located in different physical places. One is in the third floor and another one is in the 5th floor. But we can add the configuration to let different terminal in the same VLAN. So this is an advantage. And about the format, if we add the VLAN, we will add the tag of the message on the layer 2. Pay attention, this one belongs to the layer 2 information. We have the destination MAC address, source MAC address, and we will add a tag. And on this tag, the first one is a fixed value, A8100, indicates this message belongs to the VLAN. The second one, we can give different priority. We have 3 bits, so the range is from 0 to 7. You can make a different value, have different priority. If the bandwidth is not enough, we can force a high priority first, like the voice VLAN. And you also can, the next bit is CFI, indicate different layer 2 type. The key point is the last one. We have 12 bits. This VLAN ID indicates how many VLAN you can create. And the range is from 0 to 4095. So this is a range. And of course, depends on your real device. Some hard switch, we directly limit the VLAN number. So maybe only support maybe 8 VLANs or maybe 12 VLANs. But by default, we can support 4096. And the type, if you want to add the VLAN on the switch, we also have to make the interface type to become access or maybe to become trunk. The difference is access only can deal with one VLAN, but about the trunk, we can deal with multiple VLAN. Also, of course, we have the third type of hybrid. This is a mix of access and trunk, but on the RCNA, we only talk about the access and the trunk is enough. So now we know the basic function of the VLAN, how to add the configuration. Like this one, we directly make a different IT department in different VLAN. So how to add the configuration. Pay attention, please. About all the terminals, they don't know what means VLAN. They don't deal with any VLAN tag. So the key point is the switch receives the message. I will directly add the different VLAN. So about the VLAN configuration, we only add into the switch is enough. Okay, so let's see the process. Like ASW1, I will have a brief introduction about the VLAN here. We have VLAN 10 of IT department, VLAN 20 of finance department, VLAN 30 of sales department, VLAN 40 of the administration department. So you have to add the VLAN one by one. Okay, about the ASW1, here, ASW1, we connect with IT1 and IT2, right? First, you have to create the VLAN 10. And about the VLAN 10, we have two interfaces connect with terminal. So we have to make this two interface to become access. We have two configuration how to make the access. One is create VLAN and directly add the interface here. So these two interfaces will become access interface. Then about the VLAN 20, you also have to create VLAN 20, but about this topology, no terminal belong to VLAN 20 connect with the ASW1, right? Why we need to create VLAN 20? Because we also have some VLAN 20 message maybe to become the backup link. So that's why you also have to create 20. And about the interface 2 and 3, this is two interfaces to connect with switch. And about the switch, usually we will use a type to become trunk. And about the trunk configuration is enter the interface and change the mode to become trunk. And you have to allow some VLAN pass-through. By default, you will allow everything, but we suggest only allow your service VLAN pass-through. So this is a basic configuration of ASW1. This is the configuration of ASW2, right? You also have to add the interface to connect with the terminal, make to become access. another interface to become trunk. And 30 and ASW3 will connect with VLAN 30 and 40. The interface connect with switch we will make to become trunk. What's me? Okay, so after you add the VLAN, you still can find the same segment can do the communication with each other. Of course, if you want to better to detect that the broadcast domain already be isolated, you can use some tool like the Wireshark to test that we can still get the broadcast domain or not. So this is the basic function of the VLAN. And about the switch 1, you also need to add the configuration of the VLAN. You can find lots of VLAN on the ASW1 and ASW2 you already create. But you will find if you want to ping with each other in different segments, they cannot ping successfully. And we already explained about the access switch, how to add the VLAN and how to give the configuration. And about the core switch, CSW1, CSW2, they don't have interface to connect with terminals, but we have interface to connect with switch. So you have to create the VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and make the interface type to become trunk. Okay, so this is a basic of VLAN. Now, do you have any question about the VLAN? Do you have any question? It is free now. Later, we also will send you the simulator, how to install and how to use to do the configuration with the training video together. If you don't have the question about VLAN, I will have one question for you.
Perlu kan, yang paham. Kemarin gua disuruh lah, itu datanya Twitter gimana cara semuanya? Nanti gua Mas Setio. Iya, udah. Ini gua ambil apa kredensialnya si Silti lagi. Gimana udah bisa?
Okay, so please show me the answer. Wow. You already get answer. Can we create 50 VLANs in our network? I think this one also is very easy for you, right? And I also see the answer because we only can create 4094. So about this question, we have to choose. Yeah, also as per switch capacity. This also is a hardware limitation. And someone maybe say how to solve the problem is if the VLAN is not enough. We have lots of technology to solve this problem. This one is easy. I think we can skip it. And another one is, if now according to these three scenarios, if we configure IP address, VLANs, STP, and all hosts on the department can get the IP address successfully, can we communicate with each other? For example, by different segment, yes or not? If we are only add the VLAN, add the STP. Well, I think you already know everything of my PowerPoint. This one also is very easy. Someone maybe say, IT1 want to do the communication with finance one. How to meet this one? In the different IT department, different segment, we need the routing information. So how many routing we can have? Yeah, we have to add the routing. Also direct routing. Okay, so how to work off the routing? And what's a key point when we do the configuration on the routing or on maybe on layer 3 switch? And about this process, we will continue in the next part.